I thought we would start out by talking about why we're here. And essentially what you are going to be able to take away from your membership in this group. And let me explain to you, there's three types of people who are in this room. Obviously, you're all here for specific purposes, and we talked about what your purposes were. But there are folks who are members of what I think we're going to rename as the Legal Max Leadership Roundtable, so that they don't put like the official name of my business on the door, D. Lorenzo Business Advisors. I'll have them put Legal Max Leadership Roundtable from now on. People who are members of that group are folks who've been clients of mine and who I personally invited to be here. And the members of the group continue on, and there's a continuity to the work that we're going to do over time. The second group of people who are here are what I call subject matter experts, who are full members of the group. Okay, they're active participants here for their own benefit and their own growth, but they're also people who have deep expertise in specific areas. And that's David, who has deep expertise in financial acumen, and Chad, who has deep expertise in a number of areas, primarily for our purposes, talent management and acquisition, and he can also do an enormous amount on e-discovery and helping mid-sized firms flex up when they need to in order to handle issues that would normally be reserved for larger firms. So I want you to view the subject matter experts as resources that are available to you. They're not sponsors. They're in a membership role. And I've purposely set this up, at least at the outset, so that we don't have sponsors. There's nobody here that's pitching you a product or a service, okay? And I want you to feel completely comfortable sharing everything that you're going to share with the group, because there is a confidentiality covenant that we're all going to be bound by. The third type of person who's in this room, and I'm very pleased that we have Lawrence and Steve here. They're observers. They're folks who have expressed an interest in who we are and what we do. And I will invite between probably 3 and 5 people to observe at any given meeting. They've invested not only their time, but they've invested financially in being here. And they want to understand what leadership in a law firm is all about. And I'm happy to welcome them and have them here to join us. So as observers, they're not going to be put on the spot to present. If they choose to become members, then they will be put on the spot as often and as frequently as we can. So just so you know kind of who's in the room. All right, so your personal growth is, you're making an investment in your personal growth by being here. And the dividends that will pay off are phenomenal over the long term. And that is an investment that is both a long-term and a short-term investment. So my goal for you, from a personal growth standpoint, is to be able to take one thing away from this meeting today that you can implement tomorrow, okay? But over the long term, what I'd like you to be able to do is perhaps change some of the practices in your firm to make you more effective, more efficient, and perhaps even develop something that you can sell after you decide to exit the practice of law. It's a little bit of controversy for a professional services firm, but I've helped a few people do it, and if you're willing to take a few risks, I think you can do it too in your firm. Okay, you're building a business, as I said, that you can sell and hopefully will run and produce a nice income for you over time, regardless of whether you're involved in the day-to-day or not. You're going to see some best practices today and throughout our journey together. And you'll be able to take these best practices, adopt them, and implement them. As I said, I ask that you keep what's said here confidential. And if you have a business practice that you think somebody could steal and compete with you, then I just simply suggest you don't share it. But quite frankly, all that stuff is overrated. It is really hard for somebody to take your best practice and implement it exactly the same way. But I respect the fact that some people may feel that way. You're going to have some resources that all of us will share. Some of the resources may be here in the room. Other resources may be in people that we refer you to, or things that we talk about that you can use, and you're going to be able to take full advantage of them. We also are going to develop new relationships, and it's really encouraging anytime I walk into a room full of people and people are talking to each other. It is beyond encouraging to the point of shocking when I walk into a room and there are lawyers who are actually talking to each other. So, so I commend you for actually initially developing relationships. And you know, the most important thing for me is we're investing a Saturday in being here, being together, so let's have some fun. You know, the first meeting, whenever we get a group together, yeah, people don't really know each other, so there aren't relationships and inside jokes developed yet. But I have complete confidence that perhaps by the end of the day, definitely by the next meeting, there'll be plenty of inside jokes, and we'll be able to have a very good time together. And of course, the main reason why we want to improve our productivity, improve our efficiency, is to make more money. And I'm a big believer that you should be unabashed in your desire to make more money. You know, there are folks who say that money doesn't buy happiness. You know, most of those folks who say that, they probably don't have any money, because there's a difference between being able to provide for your family and your kids with additional funds, with nicer things, than being able to provide with your kids just based upon love and your good looks. Love makes the world go around, and love is probably the most important thing in anyone's life. But in order to really make a difference in the world today, money is very helpful. So don't be shy about wanting to make more money and having fun while you're making more money. As long as you're providing value to your clients, you're providing value to the community, you're giving back, I think you can make as much money as you want and you can feel great about it. All right, so what else? Well, you're members in a very specific community, and it's not happenstance that you're here. I've invited you, I've asked you to be here, and I've done so because either when I initially looked at your practice, I saw something interesting, or for those of you who've known me for a while, I think you bring a lot to the table and you can help other people. And also, I think there's an element here in the room of kind of a match of strengths versus weaknesses that I think will be productive for all of you. And I'm going to continuously look to grow that. So, you know, this group will probably never be 150 or 200 people, but we may get to be 25 or 30 people. You know, some of you may know, I actually invited 25 people. We had 20 different law firms who committed to coming, and you know, some of them things came up and they canceled along the way. So folks may come and go from the group, but the element of matching strengths with that are complementary to other people's areas of non-strength, if you will, is an element that I specifically focused on when I was looking to put this group together. Access to thought leaders. You know, today we're going to have Chad and David here, and they're going to be with us throughout our time together. Gary Rosen's going to be here, and he can tell you what it's like to jump in to a law firm kind of midstream and have to. You know, he took that job because he thought he was the best person available, and his partners did too, and he didn't, I think, fully understand what he was getting into. So you have access to these people, and we're going to introduce you to different people like that along the way, and you have access to them forever afterwards if you choose to nurture those relationships. You get a nice strategic retreat times 4, so there's 4 opportunities, and we're going to try and create really nice experiences for you all along the way at each of the meetings. So our next meeting is in San Diego, and it is I think it's the 5th, right? Is it May 5th? That's Saturday of that weekend. I'll look on the calendar when we announce it. May 3rd, I'm sorry. May 3rd, apologize. And it's at the JW Marriott Marina, which is a really nice hotel. And if the group gets a little bit bigger, we'll start doing some organized activities. With that meeting, the day after that, the Sunday, if you want to stick around, I'm going to do a marketing seminar that's open to the public. You guys, as members of the group, can come to that free of charge. So it's a half day. So if you come for the Saturday meeting, stay over for Sunday morning. First thing in the morning, we'll do the marketing seminar. It'll be over by lunchtime. And then if you want to fly home or stick around and enjoy the hospitality, you can. I'll make that announcement a couple more times just so that you know. Ideas. This is going to be an incubator for ideas, and we're going to really set it up like a think tank, if you will. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. But you should be able to take away from this at least one, hopefully several great ideas that you can implement that can help you grow your law firm and do it in a way that will allow you to get home on time for dinner every night. A focus on action. I'm going to set up an accountability system that will ensure that you take action as you come away from these meetings, because ideas without action are absolutely worthless. So my hope is that we're going to set up this system, and between the system and your access to me, you will take some action that will really make a difference in your firm. And the library. This is one of the things that I'm really, really excited about. The reason that we videotape this meeting, and we're videotaping each of your presentations, I guess maybe I shouldn't use the word tape anymore, right? Because we don't actually use tape. We're recording. The reason that we're recording this session, how old am I? The reason that we're recording this session, and the reason that we will record future sessions, is because we're creating a knowledge bank online. And we're going to break it down by categories. So when you want to go research, you have an issue in your practice, and you want to look up how other people have handled that issue, there's going to be keyword search available, because we're going to transcribe all this, and there's also going to be search by category available. So you'll be able to look up all the financial acumen stuff that we've recorded over time, and you'll have access to that. So that library, I think, as it grows, will become more and more of a powerful knowledge base for you. To get the library started, we've got already, I think I checked it the other day, we've got 96 videos that I've put up there myself, and we still have probably half a dozen more, I think, that we're gonna upload. And those videos are on productivity, business strategy, practice management, and marketing. So I will turn that system live on April 1st, because that gives me 2 weeks to make sure it's organized. And Jeff will probably have these videos up there and available within 3-4 weeks of this meeting. He's going to cut them down. We'll categorize them, get the transcripts done, and put them up. So you'll have this as a resource, and you'll have all the future ones as a resource. Now, for those of you who may be sharing some information that you don't want put on video in your presentation, or those of you who just are uncomfortable being on video, not a problem. I'm happy to not record your presentation if that's your choice. Just let us know in advance. The other reason why we're doing this is because I'm creating a publishing opportunity for all of you. What we're going to do is we're going to take, it'll probably be after 4 meetings, we'll probably have enough information to put together either a book or some sort of published work that'll be an annual published work. And you will be the author of any of the chapters in there where you've presented. And I'm going to offer this to my publisher. He's already expressed some interest, but he wants to see what the content is first. Imagine that. And if he decides he doesn't want to publish it, we will publish it ourselves, because it's a very easy process these days. It's going to be, so your presentation will be transcribed. It will be edited by me first for content, and then I'm going to have somebody take it and convert it from spoken word to written word, and it will be put into the annual volume that we create, and you'll be able to take as many copies of those as you want back to your firm and distribute them for marketing material, use them however you want. And we're going to engage a publicist to market it, so it's a published work that you'll have co-authored. I'm really excited about that. I think this is going to be an incredible opportunity. And what that does is that takes this just from a nice meeting that you go to every couple months, every quarter, to really participation in a think tank. Okay? You can literally say you're participating in a group that's generating new ideas and setting the standard for the legal profession. All right. Now, rules in terms of how we operate in the meeting. Very simple. I base it on the 4 agreements. Some of you may have read the 4 agreements book by Don Miguel Ruiz. I highly recommend it. It's a very short read. It is one of the best books in terms of being able to build your confidence and focus over time. And our behavior here in the room, and I'll email you the information with a link to Amazon if you want to buy it. Our behavior in the room is governed by the 4 agreements. So the first agreement, according to Don Miguel Ruiz, is be impeccable with your word, okay? I'm not thrilled with the wording impeccable, but what that means is simply ask yourself these questions before you say something. Is what I'm saying the truth? Is it helpful? Am I offering something that's helpful? Because we don't really need a lot of negative energy in this room. Most of us are married, and there's plenty of negative energy to be had from that relationship. That's a joke. My wife is supposed to be here, but you know. Does this add value to the discussion? So you're going to say something to the group. Am I adding value to the discussion? Am I defending those who are not in the room? Okay. You know, if you like to gossip, I'm sure there's a time and a place for it. But let's not do it in this group, in this forum, about people that we know in common. Should I say this in private? I'm a big fan of thwarting passive-aggressive behavior when it exists, but I'm not a big fan of doing that in a way that that perhaps embarrasses someone or takes away their dignity. So before you say something, ask yourself: is this something I should say in private? Is this direct, not passive-aggressive? All right. So the second of the 4 agreements: no assumptions. Clear communication. So if you feel it, say it. If something's making you uncomfortable, you know, a concept somebody's introduced makes you uncomfortable, ask questions about it, okay? Because the questions that you have, probably 2 or 3 other people in the room are probably thinking as well. When in doubt, say it one-on-one, okay? So if you feel this nagging feeling that you have to say something to somebody, say it. Don't let it fester. But do it in a way where you pull someone aside and make sure that it's a private conversation. All right, don't take anything personally. This is my favorite of the 4 agreements. You know, it's really difficult for all of us when somebody says something to you. The other day, I did training 3 days at a seminar for a business network, and you were at one of them in Miami, and we were getting ready to get started, and I'm standing outside the door to the conference room, and I saw somebody I know. I go up to him, shake his hand. It's been a long time. How you doing? You look great. He looks at me and he goes, "Are you gaining weight?" So now, if I, you know, and in reality, I've actually lost a few pounds, but this guy hadn't seen me in a couple of years, I guess. So if I was willing to, I could have taken that personally, and that could have thrown me off a little bit, you know. But when someone says something to you, particularly something like that, 9 times out of 10, that's more about them than it is about you. And when you look at it, it's about how they view the world, okay? And this guy, by the way, he's not slim. So, you know, when somebody criticizes you, that speaks to them and their nature. It most often has nothing to do with you, unless it's done in a constructive way. So this is a business meeting. We're here for business purposes. If somebody says something to you that is personal in nature, don't take it that way, because it's more about them than it is about you. Nobody really knows your history. You know, I know some of you relatively well, but I still don't know your entire history. So, you know, it's if I say something, there's no way that I know why you behave the way you do. Maybe there's some type of issue in your background that's creating this behavior. So I have no right to judge you. So you should feel like you shouldn't take it personally, because I don't know what's going on. You know, apply useful info and then just simply become immune to any criticism and anything else that goes on. This has to be, for all of us, a work in progress. But let me tell you, if you can even make 10 to 15% progress in this area, you will be far more successful in your practice, in business, because immunity to criticism is probably the most valuable quality anyone can take away. The final agreement is always do your best, right? This is what we tell our kids, yet we fall short oftentimes in giving our best effort. Now, the way Don Miguel Ruiz phrases this is, your best is going to depend upon the situation, the circumstances, and what your innate ability is, what your talent is, okay? So if I'm focused on doing my best in the moment, and I've only got 4 hours of sleep, you know, my best on 4 hours of sleep may be 90% of what or 80% of what my best may be overall. So know that you're giving your best effort in any circumstance, just to make sure you're fulfilling your commitment to yourself. You know, I use the expressions all the time: how you do one thing is how you do everything, and how you are in here is how you are out there. And many folks who work in the personal growth field, personal development field, say this phrase, and they say it for whatever reason suits their purposes. Sometimes they say it to get you to buy products or services that they're selling. But the reason that I say it is because when I stand in front of you today, I have to do my best to provide as much value as I possibly can. When you work with a client and they have a circumstance that they need you to resolve, you have to provide as much value as you possibly can. You took an oath to do that when you became an attorney. Well, focusing on doing your best in any circumstance, and I find myself really lapsing from this, quite frankly, to make a confession to you, when I'm with my kids, when I'm with my family. I mean, there's a right way and a wrong way to tell my son to get off the counter in the kitchen when he's jumping up and down and walking on the kitchen counter. More often than not, I don't do it the right way. I'm not giving my best. So, having the presence of mind to always do my best and to act in here as I act with my clients, to give you the impression that I always act like this and I always offer my best, is critically important to me, and I would hope it would be critically important to you as well. And in any circumstance, whether you're producing a work product or contributing to a group, you have to ask yourself, is this really, really the best I can do? All right. Now, going back to why we're here, the reality of it is we're here to be a little uncomfortable, like this guy. All right? In reality, each of us is going to have to stretch and get a little bit out of our comfort zone in order to grow, because that's what growth is all about. So today, while we are together, I ask you just to kind of suspend disbelief about some of the things that have been, some of the things that have been become paradigms in your life, some of the things that have become paradigms in your practice, and really focus on what you can do to get out of your comfort zone, to be uncomfortable, and to grow and to develop. Now,